Nigeria's 2022 economic outlook. Its eyes will be looking at it from the different eyes of different stakeholders amid microeconomic challenges that seem to ease up by the day. And looking at the numbers at this point in time, looking at it, talking about our GDP figures, our inflation figures, as well as the exchange rate from the eyes of the World Bank here, the International Monetary Fund, the African Development Bank, the Economic Association, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, as well as the federal government. We see that at this point, the federal government thinks in 2025 we're going to have GDP growth at 3.89% from the 3.46% that we have today. But the World Bank, as it is at this point, the World Bank thinks we're going to be having 3.70% GDP growth. The International Monetary Fund is taking us to about 3.2%, as well as the African Development Bank 3.40%. As for the inflation numbers that we are anticipating for them to slow down at this point in time, we have 34.6% as Nigeria's inflation figure at this particular point in time as of today, third quarter, as of the numbers for third quarter 2024. And from the projections of the federal government, we are looking at 15% into 2025, talking about the first quarter of the year. And looking at it from the eyes of the World Bank thinks inflation might kind of dwindle to 21%. For the IMF, they're thinking 25%. As for the African Development Bank, is 20.7%. While the Economic Association, as well as the Nigerian Economic Group, they are kind of indecisive, talking about a possible inflation might still be high, despite the fact that Nigerians believe so well that with the coming up of Nigeria's refineries, talking about the Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery, and some private refineries, talking about the Bua refinery, the cost of petroleum products is going to go down, which advertently will affect the cost of transportation and the cost of food items, which has driven the inflation numbers upwards. And looking at it from the exchange rate, from the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, as well as the African Development Bank, they are a little bit also indecisive about how Nigeria's exchange rate will go. But for the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, they think it will further depreciate. But unlike the FDC pegs the Naira to the US dollar at 1,550 to the US dollar. And looking at pro-share research as well as the federal government, we're looking at 1,650 and 1,500 from around 1,700. That is it on the snapshot for expectations of the economy, talking about first quarter 2025. Let's take a look at the equities market quickly. Nigeria's equities market actually opened the year positive note, rising by 0.25% on Thursday, the first trading day of the year. And on the overall, the capitalization is, and the whole share index closed the year very positive at 62.8 trillion naira and 102,926.4 basis points. And looking at numbers, the all-share index for today is 103,180.14 basis points. On the average, we're talking about 0.25% increase, where we had 829.9 million shares being exchanged amongst investors to reach 11,752 deals, and equity capitalization is 62.9, which says we are going to be having a wonderful day in the market. Royal Exchange recorded the highest volume of 291 million traded shares, followed by Champions and ICO Insurance, which is to say the services sector as well as the industry sector is coming tops. On what do we saw with the banking stocks ending last year? Well, this is it.